Bring back the clap.
All right, I'm ready.
Here we go.
We're all synced up now.
We're going.
Might be in stereo a little bit. Just kidding. We're good now.
Now, what would be really cool is if we could have that as a monitor.
Of us?
Yeah,
Yeah.
giant mirror. Could just get a mirror.
Could just get here. Spend way less
Why
money.
haven't film projects learned about this mirror technology instead of using a monitor? Hello. Welcome to This Podcast Is Not For You. My name is Wes.
Hi. We're back.
Back.
We're back.
We are back.
Back like it's 2006.
Nice.
We've
Tying
been
it
gone
in.
for a minute.
Took a little break. I
Yeah.
introduced myself. Who are you guys?
My name is Jake.
There will be evidence that I am saying right now, I am Jake. So,
What evidence?
You guys
is-
can see now that he's lying.
Yeah.
no, and you see that he's lying. You really think that I'm not Jake?
I've been paid this whole time.
We're starting off hot because we got video going. We're testing it out.
We weren't going to talk about it, Wes.
Well, you literally were talking about it.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. You were.
Yes.
But we're trying out some video. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully we're not just staring into the camera the whole time. But today,
If I have to put on airs, I think I'm out.
I have to pretend like I haven't been staring at the camera this whole time.
we've been staring at cameras while recording the podcast for months, but they're just not recording anything.
My goal is to slowly look worse and worse for these videos.
Nice.
Okay.
Sick.
No shaving, just
Yep.
long hair,
Right.
torn clothes.
Robes only.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know you owned any robes.
I don't, but I'm about to.
It's a process.
So we're talking about the year of our Lord 2006. Why are we talking about the year of our Lord 2006?
In our group of friends, we always talk about 2006 being potentially the greatest year in music. So many great albums were all released in this year.
Wow, that was really natural, Jake. That was
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah, so amongst our friends, we've always talked about this year because so many albums came out that were really notable. Siri is going on your computer.
It's not your thing. You're not in our friend group. Like,
Back off, dude,
out.
Siri. All right.
Can you imagine the echo chamber we could get with Siri on there and
that
Siri
would
on
be
there?
insane.
My God. Okay. But we're talking about 2006 because a lot of artists, a lot of our artists that we listened to came out with pretty notable. My word.
He started. He waved. It's not my fault.
Didn't expect it. Though. I didn't expect the junior high looks.
We are recording.
I'm going to cut out all of this.
Now you have to.
In just the audio version. The
Yeah.
YouTube version will stay the same.
It's completely raw on YouTube. My word. We're talking about 2006 because it was a very notable year in music. Not only did a lot of really famous artists across the board release an album, a lot of really famous artists released arguably their best album. We're going to talk about. We have a very long list,
Yeah.
and it's not even.
It's not everything.
It's not comprehensive.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, I want to pose this question. Is it possible that we are biased because we were growing up as kids in 2006? I was 15. Or is it objectively insane? Like,
Well, I mean, wouldn't that whole group of years make it make us biased? Like, if it happened in 2005, how would that be different? Of us thinking that the
Are
year
you saying that
was-
it wouldn't? Because we'd still be growing up then.
right. I think if this year happened in 2005, we'd be talking about it in the same way. I'm just saying these artists specifically and these albums, because I don't necessarily think we're biased. I think it's objectively like an insane year for album releases
Yep.
because even bands and artists outside of the things that I listen to, I can look at and go, it's crazy that this many people
Yeah.
released an album
Yeah.
in this year that was really good or really notable. But is some element of this possibly like nostalgia for when we were kids? And like, I remember when We Don't Need to Whisper came out, or, Stadium Arcadium. Is it possible there's a little bit of bias, or do we, like, looking at the list, it would seem to me that it's objective. Like,
Well, I'll say this. Most of this music, I would say that I didn't discover in 2006. I probably listened to it much later than that
that's fair.
and traced it back. I mean, I know that I didn't listen to Stadium Arcadium when it came out.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't listen to Continuum when it came out. I didn't listen to a lot of these albums.
Yeah, some of these I came to late as well.
I think I listened to Black Holes when it came out,
Yeah.
and AVA the year it came out. But there's probably half the list I didn't listen to on the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it's probably a little bit of like bias. Like, we are looking at the outline,
Just so you know.
just so you
We're
know.
looking back at 2006.
We got a
Yeah.
fancy monitor.
It's right here.
So like,
I mean, this stuff for you, Jake, there's less on this that you were like super into than
yes, to get
some of the
that
stuff that
to
I
get
was
that out in front of it. Yeah, I think I love probably 3 or 4 records on this list, but there's so many that are, you look into it. Oh, one of their top albums. Okay, we'll check this one out. One of their top records. One of their top records. Their first debut album that was amazing. Those type of
Yeah.
things. So, like, I don't like The Strokes. I definitely didn't listen to that Johnny Cash album. I don't like Justin Timberlake. So there's so many on there that it's like, well, I don't listen to that. I don't like it. But obviously, Future Loves Like Sounds was huge. It's like
Yeah.
everyone knew it. Taylor Swift's self-titled.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but huge, obviously.
Right.
So I think there's a little bit of bias, and then sometimes that can also be negative, right? It's like,
Yeah.
well, I'm definitely not going back and listening to Taylor Swift's
Sure.
self-titled, right? So I think it could go a little bit of both ways. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. When Birdman and Lil Wayne put out like Father Like Son, it's like, I probably wouldn't listen to it now,
Yeah.
but it's like, who wasn't listening to Stuntin' Like My Daddy at the junior high dance?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff where it's like,
Throw it in the air.
it does have something
Yeah.
to do with our
When
experiences,
we were driving back from Illinois for the holiday, and we were listening to a 2006 playlist on Apple Music of hip hop songs just to see what was on it, because we had already been through like the alternative and all
Right.
that stuff, and it was like every song you ever heard on the radio or amongst friends or at a dance at
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
Which insane that they played some of those songs at dances,
Sure.
but it
Yeah,
was
it-
just like one after another.
Yeah, the hip hop then, I guess, was so clubby.
Yeah.
I mean, you did have Ghostface Killah, like one of Wu-Tang's original members, putting out like actual rap, but none of
Right.
that stuff got radio play then.
yeah.
So
it was like really
just,
raunchy stuff
oh yeah,
for the
baby.
most part. So yeah, we're gonna get into this list. It is not comprehensive, and there's a number of like really famous artists that we didn't necessarily put on the list because either we're not necessarily a fan of them, or they're an artist that's been around for a long time and it wasn't necessarily like a seminal record. Like The Who released an album, but 2 of their members had already passed away.
Springsteen.
Somebody else, The Police, I think, released an
Yeah,
album.
Springsteen, but
Put out 2.
he put
Yeah.
out 2 records.
Yeah.
Willie Nelson, Morrissey, Paul Simon, Bob Dylan put out his like 50th record or something, Modern Times, and then of course High School Musical, the first.
Right. I was hoping that you were going to mention that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have a whole follow-up episode about the first High School Musical soundtrack.
Say what you will about Zach, but I think that
Corbin Blue was like amazing in that. Like,
Did you realize that how good they were at basketball that year?
yeah, the Pelicans or something.
Sure.
Nice.
Who are they?
I have no idea.
Dang.
Wildcats.
Ladies, if you're listening, tell us. who
That
they
sounds maybe right.
Wildcats?
are. He was
Moving
the
on.
youngest one then, so maybe he watched it. He's just scared to say.
Wildcats.
What?
No. I wish I would have. Because a
What?
lot of my friends were super into it.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Dudes?
Dude.
We can cut this out, but I mean, like, dudes were
No.
into it.
Name them specifically. Call them out right now.
I'll give you their social security numbers.
For real though, who was into it? Jordan?
Off the air. We'll talk about it off the air.
Say.
Our mom
You know
was
who you
super
are.
into them.
I'll put it in the comments.
Drop it in the comments as a listener.
Right.
And I think it was.
I'm Jake, so
True,
we'll have Peyton will
true,
have to.
yep.
Yeah.
Just so you know, Sagan was super into it.
Okay.
So when you drop it in the comments, you have to put that one.
Okay. No problem. I heard from Jake that
Yeah.
Moving on.
good fake
Your
laugh.
job,
Wes. Go ahead
director.
and keep going.
All right. So we've left some out because they're not necessarily worth talking about, but we've got a pretty long list here of notable records, and we're just kind of going to go through them. We can briefly comment on ones that we want to.
Yeah, if you don't hear an artist that you like and you think they were around in this time, you could look it up. They probably had an album come out or
Yeah.
at least a single of some kind.
All right. Let's start going through it. Okay. We got Mute Math's debut album.
Self-titled,
Yeah.
UMath.
I really enjoy Mute Math. This is not my favorite of their records, but it put them on the map.
Uh-huh.
Arctic Monkeys debut album, Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not. Huge record.
Yeah,
Um,
especially in the UK.
Yes. It launched their career. They didn't necessarily gain huge popularity in the US right away, but it went to number one. All of their records have gone to number one in the UK since
This one.
This
Yeah.
one. It's a big deal. The Sword, Age of Winters. This is a metal band that I'm a big fan of. I think you like quite a bit. But this is their first record as well.
Yeah.
And
This is more in the category of like quality. They've never been huge.
Right.
Huge. So
yes.
it's
No,
not
and they're
pop
notable
culture
albums
wise.
for us too. Like, so the Sword
It
is
had
one.
Freya on it. Age
Yeah.
of Winters.
Yeah.
So-
notably, the Sword was on a Guitar Hero.
I was going to
game.
say, if you played Guitar Hero, you probably have played Freya,
Mm-hmm.
the song Freya by the Sword.
Next up, the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, Show Your Bones, which I'm not a Yeah Yeah Yeahs fan, but I know that was a pretty big record. I always know the album art of that one. It's got like the red and the gold and
Yeah,
stuff on
I'm
it.
not super well versed in them.
Yeah.
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 There it is.
The Flaming Lips, At War with the Mystics, which is actually my favorite Flaming Lips record.
Same.
It's a really, really good one. They've got a lot of records.
It's the most accessible.
Yes. And a lot of them I don't like, but
Yeah.
this one's a good one. Similar lines to the Sword. You got the Black Angels, Passover.
Which I've never even heard of, the Black Angels.
They're the band that have the song at the end of that True Detective episode, Young Dead Men. I can't remember which episode it was, but it was in season 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where I heard them for the first time. They're very like psychedelic, kind of 60s, 70s style rock band. But
Gotcha.
this was a big album for them. And then a huge record, Red Hot Chili Peppers Stadium Arcadium.
Why are you looking at me?
Yes.
Jake, you're a huge Chili Peppers fan. You're always talking about Guys for John.
Skibbidi-dip-bop-bidi-dip-boop.
What?
That, like,
They definitely had.
Wait.
That was Zacchaeus. You've never heard him scat?
yeah. What?
He scats like every song on this record.
The
Wow.
stadium goes nuts for it.
I love that that's your perception.
The Arcadium?
Of
Yeah.
I love that that's your perception of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. That he scats somehow. Anyways,
The
Disprove it. Okay.
music makes itself. I mean, I don't know what to say.
it's a double LP.
Yeah. I mean, they had bigger songs. Danny, California was their big hit. Californication was a big hit,
Mm-hmm.
song-wise. This record, I think, probably falls in the category of quality.
Yeah.
I think it's their best. I mean, you've got 30 songs
Right.
to go through, but
It's-
they're all really good.
It
I
seemed
mean,
to be
none of them.
the peak of their talent.
Was this their first record with Rick Rubin?
No, I don't think so.
No.
No.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he did
Most of their stuff.
most of their stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, this
There's
seems
a
to
lot
be
of special things about
the peak
this
of
era.
the four of their like band chemistry.
Yeah.
And John Frusciante left the band after this album, partially because he felt like he had done all he could do. He
Yeah.
felt like they reached a peak.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a really, really notable record.
Uh-huh.
I mean, songwriting wise, I think they're at their peak. It's the best they've ever been.
Yeah. The Raconteurs' first album, Broken Boy Soldiers. This is the Jack White supergroup, sort of.
It was the first thing he did after White Stripes, correct?
White Stripes were still around.
Yeah, I had no idea that the Raconteurs
Was the Jack White
started
band.
this early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I believe Icky Thump was 2009,
Okay.
right?
And that was their last studio album?
Yeah. So Raconteurs were still around. He was doing them at the same time.
Okay.
As White Stripes. But yeah, this was their first album.
Steady as She Goes, the big single, was played a lot.
That was them?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. I had no idea.
Skibidoo bop bop.
You know
Jack
that
White is.
famous
That's my Jack White.
Nice.
It's good.
All right, we need just continuing
It's a good thing that
impressions.
we've got video of this,
Skitty
too.
bop.
We just need continuing impressions of Jake's baseline perceptions of a
Can you
People
say
I
musical
don't
baseline?
really listen to, but
Yeah.
kind of.
album. All right. Next
Yeah.
up.
Oh, yeah.
Hey-o.
Anyway, the album itself is amazing.
Yes.
I mean, they really only had. They just put out their third studio album, but their two, and there was a pretty big gap between this and Consolers,
I
right?
think Consolers was like 2011, maybe 2010.
So that's 5 years almost, 4 or 5 years at least.
Probably. I could be wrong on that.
Anyway, the album's amazing.
Yeah.
Very different from the White Stripes.
Yeah. This next one you can talk about,
Yayo,
Jake.
yayo.
Yeah, nice. Angels and Airwaves debut record, We Don't Need to Whisper. This was after Blink-182 had broken up the first time.
Watershed moment.
Yeah.
Tom DeLonge formed Angels and Airwaves and put out this record, and it's amazing. One of...
Stop looking at me.
It is, though.
Yeah. Back to you.
Oh, you were doing it already. I was in my mind. I was backtracking on whether you'd done an impression yet, but
I
you
did.
were. You were
Yep.
doing it while he was talking about it.
Yayo.
The reason I say watershed moment also, yeah, musically in the punk alt world,
was
but
massive.
also in our musical world too.
Initially, I did...
This could be why we have this episode in general.
Yeah.
This one album kind of like is big enough to warrant.
Jake and us have kind of different tastes in music. This is one that crosses over for all three of us, I feel like.
Uh-huh.
Is that right?
Uh-huh.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you?
I would agree.
And
Uh-huh.
because we
Yeah.
saw them together.
Yes, we did. Yeah,
Mhm.
all of us.
All of us,
Yes,
definitely.
all three of us went to see AVA.
Not after this album. It was a couple albums later. But
It's not going to hurt my pride to lie about that.
Right.
I'm
I mean,
fine.
you were there.
I was
It
there.
amazing.
mhm.
So, yeah, I think it's,
When he swung that giant,
dude, the light.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, I think this is their, if it's not their best record, it's their second best record.
Yeah, I would agree.
Which we're going to talk about
Yes.
that,
yeah,
as we can all see
Yeah.
on the outline. That we're going to talk about that later. But yes, there's only one song on this record that I don't like.
It hurts. Is that the name
In my
of it?
opinion, like, does that hurt you?
Yeah, it
or
hurts.
We're just like, that hurts, man.
It's the name of the track that you
Yes.
don't like? Yeah.
So I'm not a big fan, but what are there? 12 songs? 13?
At least, yeah, 12.
I think it's only 10 or 11.
Hey, Siri.
I'm looking. Here we go.
I got that one off, though. Did you see that?
I did. Oh, 11 including the machine bonus track.
Right.
So 10
Right.
tracks.
Yeah. Anyway, it's good.
So I didn't initially know that this was Tom DeLonge from Blink-182 when I first heard it. Because I hadn't really gotten into Blink. They were already broken up by the time I started getting into more broad music
Right.
in general. But I eventually made the connection, obviously. But yeah, huge record. Muse, Black Holes and Revelations. Arguably my favorite record of all time.
That's
pretty
good.
That's good.
He's getting better.
Yeah, it's a good Matt Bellamy impression. I absolutely adore this record. That's about all I can say about it. It's amazing.
Culturally, again, it was
Starlight is on this one.
Yeah.
Knights of Sidonia
Nights,
is
which
on
is
this
also
one.
on Guitar Hero. How
True.
much was it? Guitar Hero is that
Guitar Hero is how we know all
made
of
the
these.
record made this year so good.
We're going to have to do a new app. Like
Yeah.
Guitar Hero.
But I mean, it Muse is a worldwide. Just they're a. I don't know. They're probably top. They've probably been in the top 10 bands worldwide, and since they came out with this record, essentially, I mean, they're huge. They're massive.
I mean, every tour they do is just a massive stadium tour.
Yeah. So, I think, and this is the one that really,
Launched it
Yeah.
into that.
because Absolution
Level.
was good,
Mm-hmm.
but this one was something different.
Yeah. Every song on this record feels different from the other, which is one thing I really like in a record sometimes, is whenever each song, like on its own, completely different stylistically,
Yeah.
but together it works in this weird hodgepodge of styles. It's a really, really good record. Okay, I'm ready for your Tommy York impression, Jake, from Radiohead. That's who Tom York is, the singer of Radiohead.
No idea.
That's pretty
That's,
good.
yeah, that's good.
Oh, sick.
You really captured the despair that Tom York has. No idea.
That's how I feel when I listen to him.
This is Tom York's first solo record. It's fine for Radiohead fans and Tom York fans, but other than that, it's not
Talking
super
about
notable.
Radiohead, and we could just
Yeah, we can just kind of.
Yeah. Audio Slave Revelations, their last record.
Wow, that's so specific.
Isn't that the end of one of their songs?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I like it.
That was good. This is their last record before they broke up.
Yeah.
They only had 3. It's the weakest of the 3, I think,
Yeah, I'd agree.
but notable band, super group. They were pretty big for a while.
Yeah.
The Mars Volta,
Amputish.
dude,
This is. I think this is
charcuterie.
one of my favorites of theirs.
yeah,
Char-
it's a really
charcuterie.
good one. I've given up on pronouncing Mars Volta titles.
Yeah.
It's all borderline impossible. I think this is
Amputature? Amputature?
second or third record. I can't remember exactly, but
Whoever does their art is amazing.
I think some of them are Strom Thurmson. I can't remember his name.
Like actual paintings?
No,
or-
it's the same guy that does like the Muse Black Holes and Revelation cover. He
Okay.
did the Pink Floyd stuff. I'm pretty sure he does some of the Mars Volta
Okay.
records, but I could be wrong on that. I included this one because we are all formerly Chicago Blackhawks fans. The Fratelli's Costello music, which has Chelsea Dagger on it,
Wow.
which was the goal song for the Blackhawks. Still is, as far as I know, unless they also traded that to the Oilers.
Impression or
That's it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, yeah.
The Black Keys, Magic Potion. How do you feel that this falls in the Black Keys discography, Pate?
It's somewhere in the middle, probably. It's got, I don't know. It's grown on me over the years. Like I think Brothers and El Camino were, in Thick Freakness even, I liked more whenever they came out. But this one, the more I listen to it, the more I think it's really, really good. I know it's Ryan's favorite Black Keys album. He's a huge Black Keys fan. Ryan Gleason. Shout out to Ryan Gleason.
Hello, Ryan. What's up, dude?
He's never going to see this.
What's up, Shed?
Yeah. What's up, Shed? Shed's listening. Shed! Got a new baby at home. Congratulations.
He's got nothing to do
Good
with
impression. Wes, what do you think? Where would you put it?
This is the first Black Keys music that I heard. What was the big single from this one? Just Got to Be
Right.
was the song that I first heard. Your
You
Touch.
just gotta be.
Your Touch is the one I'm
Your
thinking.
Touch is the
Baby.
single. Nope.
It's gotta be free.
Yeah.
Peyton James Walker.
Yeah, Your Touch is the one that I remember.
Yeah. So this
How
was
sweet.
this was the first Black Keys music that I heard. So I enjoy it, but I've kind of grown tired of Black Keys in some ways, but their older records I tend to listen to more than their newer stuff. But it's a good album, solid. All right, Pate, resident John Mayer expert. Continuum.
John Mayer.
It's my favorite.
Continue.
It's my favorite Mayer record.
It's arguably his best and arguably his most popular.
It's got Waiting on the World to Change,
Yeah, it does.
which
It's got Gravity.
it's got Gravity.
Your body is one on that.
Nope.
It does not
It
have
could though, if we thought about it.
that. Can we get the?
Can we get your Mayer impression?
I thought that was it.
It's really good. He's getting good.
That
Wow.
was it.
It's only going to get better from here on out because we get weirder.
I would say, I mean, beyond his skill on the record, I think the thing that makes it amazing is Pino Palladino and
Steve Jordan.
Steve Jordan. I think those
John Mayer Trio.
two guys, that era, that is pretty magical.
Mm-hmm.
So
Jake, what's next?
It is the Killers' second album, Sam's Town.
How does this rank for you amongst the Killers records? You're more of a Killers fan than either of us. I enjoy them. It's
Yeah.
probably my favorite of theirs.
Yeah, I'd say my if you're listening at home, and if you're watching, my Killers fandom goes up at the very beginning. I mean, Hot Fuss and Sam's Town, and then Battleborn and stuff like that. It kind of goes down. I'm never really been able to get super into, and then now the stuff they're releasing now is like going back up. I really enjoy what they're releasing now. So really, there's five, six Killers records that I listen to. Sam's Town's definitely top or second. And I think, most Killers fans would say that. I mean,
Is anyone
Hot
really
Fuss is
saying
Sam's
Battleborn
Town.
is their favorite?
Not day and age, no. Battleborn, no. So yeah, all those ones. But
I was going to say, in terms of culture, Hot Fuss or this one.
yeah.
Yeah.
The
Really
thing about
huge.
Hot Fuss is, and it didn't come out this year, so I'll spend very brief on it. But it's hit after hit after hit. If you look at the track list,
Yeah.
But Sam's Town is like, I think that their songwriting is another level.
Mm-hmm.
The production is more polished, whereas Hot Fuss is a lot grittier.
Yeah.
So Sam's Town was just more friendly to like a lot of people, I think. And
I
so,
think it's
yeah.
a weirder record, though, in terms of their songwriting.
It is. The second song is like, it literally sounds like an outro. It's just
Yeah.
like a piano, and he's like, "We hope you enjoy your stay."
There's the impression.
And that's it. And it's
Nice.
like, this sounds so strange every time it comes on. Well, not now because I know it, but when it used to come on, I was like, "Why is it on shuffle?" And then I'd be like, "Oh yeah, wait, it's not. This is the
It's in
second
a weird
song."
place.
So, which to the video guys, you're gonna know this, but we're gonna cut it out of the audio. That's why I'm pining so hard for that acoustic thing that Luke does to be the second track on Disco Two Step, because I think that would be really cool.
An homage.
Yeah. Anyway,
Peyton, how do you feel about Jamestown?
It's my favorite Killers record.
Okay, cool. Moving on. My Chemical Romance.
is that pretty good?
That sounded like you. That just
Yeah.
sounded like Jake.
Yeah.
That's not bad though. I
the
mean,
Black
he does.
Parade.
I could sing all of the songs that are on there that we all know. It's the Teenagers song. I thought
Yep,
that he
there we
sings like
go.
that on the Teenagers song.
I mean, he does scream
Guess.
for sure.
Yeah.
You've done better.
It doesn't sound
Yeah,
like
that's
someone
true.
being strangled, but
Is that
all
better?
right.
Okay.
It's a little closer. This is a really, really good record. I'm not a huge My Chemical Romance fan in general. There's a couple other tracks that I like from previous records, but this one is like amazing top to bottom.
Yeah.
It's a really great concept album,
Yeah.
and it's the best of, I think, the emo genre of punk rock music.
Yeah. It didn't seem ripped off.
Yeah.
That's true.
The
Yeah.
musicianship is insane on it. Like, he's a really good guitarist.
Yeah. I remember for this year, like I remember this music video for, I believe,
The title track?
no.
Is it the World War II one?
Yeah, what's the name of that?
That's Ghost of You. That's from previous record.
All right, well,
The video people will know.
I screwed it up, guys.
Thanks for subscribing to our Patreon.
Get more screw ups like this on our Patreon.
Dude, have you guys listened to Tyler the Creator's 2006 release?
Does he have one?
No, that's
Okay.
but it's Patreon exclusive.
It's an epic record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super epic.
The most notable song is Welcome to the Black Parade.
Yes.
It was everywhere for a while.
We're
But
also teenagers.
Teenagers.
Teenagers is a good one. Plus 44, When Your Heart Stops Beating. I thought I'd put this on there just to make a note of it. This was Mark Hoppus and Travis Barker's band post Blink 182. It's not as good. It's fine. It's nowhere near AVA quality, but
But it is an interesting thing where you have the power trio,
Yeah.
right? And then they both went on to release something this year.
Mhm.
You know, it's like, well, they could have said, I'm done, I'm going to take a break, blah, blah, blah. But I think it is noteworthy because both of them kept doing something.
yeah.
There was just something about that dynamic that it wasn't that they wanted to stop, I guess.
I'd
Right.
say it's the best thing Mark Hoppus has come out with.
Without Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
He's
any
not
of the,
in Boxcar, right?
No, he's not.
That's
he
Travis.
guests vocals on a song on Boxcar, but he's not in
Any
it.
of the Blink stuff post Tom
It's terrible.
is way worse than Plus 44.
Yeah.
Yes, I would agree with that. Because they're trying to be,
This sounds
Blink.
different than Blink.
yeah.
Plus 44 does.
But it's notable. Tenacious D, the Pick of Destiny soundtrack.
Amazing.
Also on Guitar Hero, the metal.
That is very true.
We are the vanquished foes of the meadow.
It's a great song. Now we're getting into stuff that I know significantly
What's up?
less about, but Jake might know more about. T.I. King.
It's
Talk about
really funny to hear you say it, though.
Right?
T.I.
Is it?
T.I. King. T.I. put out King, which got pretty good reviews. Not
Name some. Do you know some tracks on it?
I did, and now I forgot because I have paper.
It's on the Patreon.
I have Paper Trail in my
Okay,
head,
yeah.
and that's my favorite T.I. record. So that's my favorite
Is
T.I.
it-
record.
I was just gonna say if you knew some tracks, maybe I would know, but I don't know.
I mean, Patreon exclusive. So yeah, basically what we're saying is if you watch this on YouTube, we signed you up for the Patreon anyway. So thank you for your $50 a month donation.
They automatically give money.
Yeah, what you know about that.
yeah.
Top Back, Good Life. I mean, Pharrell. I don't know. Pharrell is just like, he has his hands in so much, and it's just like anytime he touches something, it's amazing. So yeah,
So he's on that record.
yes.
That's
He used to
earlier
rap,
than
which
I-
is insane.
That's earlier than I ever remember hearing about him.
Yeah, he used to rap too.
Hmm.
So like he used to do mixtapes in the mid 2000s, which is so strange. And so yeah, so it had Top Back, What You Know. Anyway, so yeah, it was
Notable.
a notable T.I. record. Yeah,
We got Ghostface Killah. What's the album called? Fish Scale?
Fish Scale, one of the original members of Wu-Tang. Anytime RZA, Ghostface does something, it is noteworthy just because of who Wu-Tang is.
They're so influential.
Yeah, and Fish Scale got pretty good reviews. I'm not a huge fan, but yeah.
We got Lupe Fiasco.
Food and Liquor, his first, like, debut commercial album. At the time when it came out, people were like, they were calling him like this kind of savior of hip hop because it was this blend of Midwestern rap with like conscious, very thought out. He just has a weird way of thinking and delivering stuff. So Food and Liquor he just did like a 15 years thing for it or something. Like it's that big of a thing for Lupe.
Interesting.
So definitely noteworthy.
Yeah. You brought this one up, Jake, that I don't think any of us are Amy Winehouse fans, really.
Chelsea
but,
loves her.
But this is her biggest album, I think, Back to Black.
Yeah.
Came out this year.
2006.
Oh, was it 2006?
Not this year. Just it was like
Kind of don't talk about that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Justin
then-
Timberlake. Future Love Sex Sounds? Is that what
Yes.
it's called?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Not a fan. But
You're not a fan?
no.
Okay.
No. I've tried so hard to like Justin Timberlake, and it's just like he's funny, seems like a personable guy. I want to like his music so bad, and it's just not good. So,
This has Sexy Back on it, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Where he's like on the cover.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's smashing
on
the
or something?
disco ball.
Peyton,
Do
do
you want
you
me-
have opinions on Justin
I
Timberlake?
like Justin Timberlake. I think I like this era of Justin Timberlake. I'll say that. I don't think Man in the Woods is any good. But I think
Because this is produced by...
Timbaland.
Rick
Yeah.
Rubin.
I guess that's probably most noteworthy about the record is Timbaland more than Timberlake.
I always confused. I thought it was like an alternate persona of Justin Timberlake because the Timba part of
Or do
the
you
name.
want us to cut this out?
No.
How much
Are you
did
being
you
serious right now?
How much did you look into it?
When? Like just now?
No, I just mean like ever.
No, not at the time because I didn't listen to the music really.
Yeah.
I just heard the names.
He's using his hands.
So I didn't realize.
Anyway,
Sorry.
That is so strange.
I will say I think it's more notable the beats and the music that Timberland was producing at the time is probably bigger than just this record, but it was probably the
Because
most.
he worked on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. But I think this record was huge. It was
Yes.
everywhere.
Yes.
But I think it's got some good songs on it too.
Yeah. We got the Strokes, First Impressions of Earth. I'm not a huge Strokes fan. There are a couple songs I like by them.
This was their huge record.
Yes, this was pretty massive
was?
at the time.
This is the red and black one.
Though. Yeah.
But it's a good Strokes record.
Yeah.
It's not really my thing, but they're decent.
Mm-hmm.
But they're people freaking love the Strokes.
Yes, they do.
This one's interesting. We got one of Johnny Cash's American records. This is number 5. These are the records that he did with Rick Rubin.
Yeah.
You got your Rick
With
Rubin
Rick Rubin?
impression?
Dude, I just think like Johnny,
No, stop it there. That's perfect.
Um,
You should imagine him with a giant
Yeah.
hair and beard.
Yeah. But yeah, these records that he did with Rick Rubin are the best thing that Johnny Cash has ever done, I think.
Again, I was gonna say like whenever I added this one in, I was talking mostly about the entire American records.
Right.
Not
This
just
one
the fifth one.
has-
The fifth one's good.
Drag You Down. What's it called? What's that song called?
God's gonna cut you down.
Yes.
You think we're in the shot?
Yeah, God's Gonna Cut You Down.
Oh,
Oh boy, we got the. So this album had God's Gonna Cut You Down, which is a pretty huge song for Johnny Cash later in his career. But yeah, so these
never gonna get tired of this, by the way.
No. But yeah, this is a pretty notable thing for Johnny Cash because he is a big name. He falls into that category of like Bob Dylan and The Who and Paul Simon, all those big names.
Keep rolling.
Uh,
We got it on film now.
but Johnny was releasing possibly his best music late in his life,
Yeah.
which is not what most of these artists do.
Right.
But
Not all of them were originals. I mean,
sure,
there's a lot of covers in there, but they're just
Does it have Hurt on there?
Hurt is
not on this one, I don't think.
it's in one of the American
Series.
records, I believe.
That hurts. Weird Al.
Straight out of Linwood. You're a big Weird Al fan, aren't you, Jacob?
I am
I grew up heavy on Weird Al.
me,
for sure.
Jake. I am a huge,
Yes. Yeah.
huge Weird
This
Al
had
fan.
White and Nerdy on it, didn't it?
Yes, I was gonna pull
Yeah.
up the track list, so people.
It had the 8 Mile parody on it as well. The polka on this record was really good as well. I just don't think that you would have a lot of the, like, like the Lonely Island or, a lot of the YouTube parody stuff that exists now. It just, he was
doing it before
in paying
anybody
for the
else.
rights. It's
Yeah.
a Wild West right now, but it's just like, yeah, he would be like, hey, can I, so I grew up on Weird
And
Al heavy,
artists
but
wanted him to a lot
yes,
of times.
yeah,
And White and Nerdy was huge.
Yeah.
Like it was massive.
yeah.
Cool. Next up, someone none of us are really a fan of, but it's notable.
Need to be talked about.
This episode should be called "It's It's Notable."
Notable.
Taylor
it's
Swift.
all of that. None of us are a fan of this, but it's notable.
2006.
Taylor Swift's self-titled album.
It's got a lot of huge. I mean, it's what gave her a career essentially.
Yeah, it has.
Sitting on the staircase. I don't know.
What's the?
Is there a diving song?
No, this is what we're talking about. We don't know. It is.
I was looking at the track list.
It
earlier,
is Tim McGraw. It has Tim McGraw on it.
but- Yeah.
The song, and that's what's confusing. Because I'll tell you a story. We were at the Steelers-Bengals game in 2005
Wow. What a
in
setup.
Pittsburgh, and she is playing the national anthem. And you don't know who she is, right? So they just say, Taylor Swift is going to play the national anthem before she plays Tim McGraw. And I was like, why is she playing Tim McGraw? What is happening?
Like, are they playing one-on-one?
I was so confused. I was thinking of 14. And I'm like, why is this girl playing Tim McGraw in front of everyone? What is happening? And then,
He does an impression of
like-
Tim McGraw.
like,
in front of him.
1 year
Play
later,
Tim
they're-
McGraw. in
1
a-
year later, I hear it on the radio.
in a
and I'm
game
like,
of
oh
touch
my
football."
gosh. So, yeah, it was insane.
Wow.
So I know it has Tim McGraw on it.
Teardrops on My Guitar.
He's the reason for the teardrops on my guitar.
Our song, isn't that another?
That's when you think our song.
Huge one.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
Our song is Slam Screen
Yeah.
Door.
I don't know the other ones by title.
Tim
but
McGraw.
Tim McGraw. She's gonna play Tim McGraw.
Dude, it was so weird.
Picture to burn, a place in this world, cold as you are, the outside, tied together with a smile, stay beautiful, should have said
Why are
no.
we listing off the track
Married
lists from
song,
like the
the one
one
that we
album
don't.
none of us have listened to?
Just so you know.
He did it. He did it.
Yes. But yeah, I feel like this was the first time that I had heard of her when these songs were being played.
Yeah.
So
Next up, we got Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam. Their self-titled
it's
album.
the one with the avocado on it.
It's one that a lot of people note as the kind of comeback of Pearl Jam or like a resurgence. Their albums before this, their 2 or 3 albums before this were not particularly well received, but this is a good one. Yeah. I think the single was Worldwide Suicide on this one, and there's a lot of protest, like Iraq War protest songs on this album.
Yeah.
All right,
Sounds
Jake, the format, Dog Problems, what is that?
So it's the
You have
format.
30 seconds.
It's the format's first CD, which really it's notable because the lead singer was Nate Roos, who later went on to form the band Fun, and then the guitarist of Fun was Jack Antonoff. So he is Bleachers now. So really, I put the format on there because it's their debut record. If you didn't have that, you wouldn't have Fun, you wouldn't have We Are Young, you wouldn't have all this, huge songs when we were in high school. And then now you wouldn't have Bleachers, which is putting out some pretty good 80s synth pop. So anyway,
Yep, Steph's a big Bleachers fan.
it's notable.
It's notable. AFI, December Underground. Again, this is a record that was pretty big, but there it is.
No, that's not it.
It has Miss Murder on it, which
Yeah.
Pretty good.
was huge.
Pretty good
Fall Out Boy?
impression, right?
What?
Right? Impression
Yes.
from Jake.
Yes.
moving
was
on.
pretty good.
Moving on.
It's
Uh,
it was their biggest record though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cute is what we aim for. The same old blood rush with a new touch.
Yes.
Parentheses.
Well, those are the singles, so that's kind of what I did.
Gotcha.
If I didn't know them super well,
Question: did you do that just so he'd have to read it?
you can.
No, I just mean that the whole record.
There's a class for this.
No, we were just talking about how awesome like pop punk album titles
Oh,
were
yeah.
in that
How
era.
long they were, too.
There's a class for this. Cursive Curves, Cute is what we aim for, kind of just burst on the scene, fueled by Ramen. They had the whole label behind them. So, in that time period, if you watched Fuse, if you watch MTV, you
Whoa. Fuse.
super got into Cute is what we aim for, and so their debut record was huge. Yeah, so
Sufjan Stevens, The Avalanche. It's a pretty big Sufjan record. It's one of the weirder ones, I think, if I remember correctly. He's all over the place stylistically. You pick a random album that he's made. It's like, oh, this is weird electronic music. But he's had some good quality stuff. We've got Hello Goodbye, Zombies, Aliens, Vampires, Dinosaurs.
again, how awesome were the album titles, right?
Yeah.
Had Touchdown Turnaround. It was really, really good. Had another Touchdown Turnaround. Did I say that?
You just said
All seriousness is right into my eyes.
for the Patreon.
It had
Two
I think
huge
it had
songs on it. It's
touchdown turnaround.
the hits aren't my favorite on it. Like I really like 2 Weeks in Hawaii, but that's not a hit. It's Touchdown Turnaround and
The one that's right after touchdown turnaround.
it's just start typing in Zombies, Aliens, it'll pop up.
Oh, I typed in Hello Goodbye. Oh, no.
Guys, smash that like button if you want me to steal Wes's mic. Look at this beautiful backdrop we've got.
Here in Your Arms.
And that's it.
No, it also has touchdown turnaround.
Okay. Did he say that yet?
No.
Did you say touchdown turnaround?
Yeah, you got it.
No, yeah, I did.
Okay. Birdman and Lil Wayne. Like, Father, you kind of mentioned this one already
It's
earlier.
just funny to hear you say it. I don't know.
Right?
I'm sorry.
So
Birdman and Lil Wayne. Like Father, Like Son, yeah, Stunt Like My Daddy. That was right around the time when Lil Wayne and Birdman started getting intertwined in like this Cash Money, Young Money, like mob, is what they called it. They called it Cash Mob. But it was just like a big deal just because of the street cred that Birdman already had. It's sort of what Lil Wayne did with Drake, right? It's like,
Pretty good, right?
actually, yeah, he goes, "Brrr." I can't do it, but it's like,
yeah.
"Brrr," you know?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, moolah. That's Lil Wayne, obvi.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway,
So
Akon.
was that the start of that? That was the start of that group, essentially.
that's right when they started like making the.
Everyone was featured on each other's records.
Yes. It was.
And it was
a
like kind of-
cesspool of.
okay.
Yeah. Yes, it was a cesspool.
Early
of rap.
2000s, cesspool of rap. Akon, convicted with a K. It's not called convicted with a K. It's the word convicted spelled with a K at the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, we went through the track list.
Oh,
before
this
the
has
episode.
everything that you've ever listened to from Akon on it.
It's got Put the Blame on Me, Smack Dat.
Touchdown turnaround.
I think it's got Touchdown Turnaround. Here in Your Arms.
Yeah.
Patreon.
It's got. Let's not look up Akon's. You know.
Yeah.
It's
Let's
not
not
giving
look
the
up the Akons.
satisfaction.
The last one is brand new. The Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me, and I guess I mean last on the list. Certainly not
Right.
the last good album that was released that year, but a lot of brand new fans would assume that this was their best record. It's definitely my favorite. It just has a lot of. My favorite part of Jesse Lacey's songwriting has always been the spiritual aspects of it, like deeply, like big question. Like my favorite song from Brand New is on this record, Jesus Christ. He's just like asking these questions like, what did you do when you were dead for 3 days? Like, have you ever thought about that? Like, what did Jesus do when he was dead for 3 days? Or, you know, it's like these really interesting, thought-provoking questions. So I've always loved his writing, and the title, The Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me, is obviously a very like, oh, you know it's going to be heavy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's amazing. And literally when I told Luke about this episode, he's like, dude, the Brand New put out The Devil and God that year too. So it's like another one, like exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And there's again, like we said before, there's probably so many that we didn't have on the list that are this way.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Again, what it is about this year. It seems like there's music for everybody.
Yeah.
That's really good quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just, that's kind of the thing that makes this year so insane is it's not just a bunch of great artists releasing music, but it's a bunch of great artists releasing arguably the best album of their career, right?
I was gonna do a harmony.
You took the words right out of my notes.
You've been back.
What are you going to say now?
No,
I got nothing.
for real though, I would say like 6 or 7 of these. I was just counting them as you were wrapping up. 6 or 7 of these
Wrapping up.
albums are my favorite of this person or
Yeah.
band's work.
Yeah, I mentioned just Mayer, AVA, Chili Peppers, My Chemical Romance, Muse, and Arctic Monkeys, all arguably their best record came out in this year, and
I
that's
think there was a
there's more on there, but
Yeah.
there was a Alicia Keys record that was huge this year, I think too.
I think so. Rihanna's first record as well.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch.
Pink, there was a big Pink record.
Uh-huh.
We just couldn't talk about all of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jake, I was gonna bring this up because you kind of mentioned it. You think that this year might be gearing up to be a similar year in some
2006,
ways?
the sequel, 15 years later.
Yeah. What? So what albums are you feeling like constitute that right now? Because there's stuff coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna talk about them or no?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's,
Well, I would just have to have my text thread because I listed off
I know you said Bleachers,
is coming out.
Killers.
That is a rumor.
Okay.
Ronnie, the drummer of The Killers, said that they have another record that they want to put out this year, which they put one out last year. So it's just, you know, I was
Right.
just assuming they would be done for a few years like they always are, you know.
Yeah.
But so The Killers, Tyler's Tyler's record was actually a rumor when we were talking about this, and it's already out now.
Right.
Tyler, the creator, put out a new record. Brockhampton put out a new record.
AVA's coming out with a
AVA's
record.
putting out another new record, which sounds the most AVA thus far. Adam's back. No, sorry. David's back.
Yep.
So that's hopefully going to get the 2006 AVA vibes.
Yeah. I feel like from the singles, there's some of that already in it.
Yeah. And just part of it was it just, from a realistic business standpoint, no one put out music last year. It just didn't make sense. If the only way you can make money is to tour, and you can't tour, if I have a project, I'm just going to wait. Drake's supposed to put out a record this year.
I feel like everyone, because they couldn't tour, went into the studio.
Yes, exactly. So I think that will be kind of a manufactured
Yeah.
super year if all these projects do end up dropping. But
And also, the difference might be it's like we might have a ton of these records that come out. They might not be the best of these
Right,
people's
which is
careers, which
like-
might be a little different. But
yeah, so I don't know if the Bleachers record, I don't know if it's going to be any good.
Right.
It is cool to be on the verge of it though.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you're usually not like. I would assume in 2005 people weren't like, I can't wait for next year's music.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah.
right.
And I think it's cool to know that there was a roadblock and like a damming of
Yeah.
music,
Yeah.
and then there's going to be a breaking point where
Yeah.
everyone's coming out with something.
Yeah.
I was going to say
Didn't McCartney 3 come out this year? Or did that
Yes.
come out last year?
it was this year.
Yeah. So that was notable. Paul recorded an album
Yeah.
in lockdown. So
But
just gives
the
people
Bo
a lot
Burnham
of-
record came
Yeah.
out this
Yeah.
year. I
It
mean,
just gives people a lot of opportunity to go record and write more than anything. Because like, as you know, Jake, it's really hard to write
Yeah.
on the road.
yeah.
Um,
I'm not a huge Arcade Fire fan, but I saw he said he wrote 2 albums worth of music during the lockdown stuff,
I believe it.
which is crazy,
Yeah.
but makes sense.
It gives people things to write about.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's something that everyone's experiencing.
Fleet
And
Foxes
what are you
came
going to
out with
write
an
about?
album.
You want to write about something that other people can relate to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it gives you ammunition. I was going to say one thing. A lot of people say 1969 is the best year. That's what everyone holds as like the best year of music. Abbey Road, the big Rolling Stones record.
Hendrix, right?
Hendrix came out with Zeppelin 2, Let It Bleed,
We also went to the moon that year.
Tommy from The Who.
It's true.
In terms of rock music, Creedence came out with Green River. It's like that's like hailed as like the best year of music or whatever. I feel like 2006 is comparable.
It's the thing is too. There was so many less notable artists in the 60s. Like
Yeah.
there wasn't this much music being released.
Right.
You know.
Widely. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that 2006 has a slight advantage in that regard.
Sure.
But those are some of hailed as some of the best albums of all time coming out in that year.
The
So-
Stooges, Zeppelin 1 also came out that year.
Yeah.
1 and 2.
which is insane.
Yeah. Bayou Country, Creedence, that big Janis Joplin record.
Yeah.
I mean, Joni Mitchell's. There's so many. Anyway, I thought I'd mention that.
It's a contender for sure. It's, in my opinion, probably runner up, just barely.
You'd put.
I'd put 2006 slightly above it.
Okay.
But I mean, like, if you look at this, the first half of this list, like, a couple of my favorite bands are in here.
Well, I was
You know
going to
what I
mention
mean?
that too. Yes, other pop artists came out with records that we didn't really listen to that much.
Right.
It's a huge year for alt rock.
Yes.
Like that's really what we're talking about
Yeah.
more than anything else. Is we're biased. Obviously, you can only listen to a certain amount of music, and you're going to listen to stuff that you naturally. Did Radiohead come out with a record this year?
No, it was just York's solo album.
But it was so huge for punk, rock, alt rock. That world is really where this year is shining.
Yeah. And the years on either sides of this were also good. Like,
Yeah.
this era of music was really good.
Yeah.
The next year, my favorite Radiohead record, In Rainbows, came out.
Yeah.
Um,
I think where this idea.
Wolf Mother's first record was in 2005.
Yeah.
So like,
I think the seed of this idea just comes from we would listen to music
I mean, like
ever since this year. We would listen to music, and then I noticed this too. Like it was just something we talked about. Like,
What
oh, it
year
just
did this-
happened to be from. Check it. Oh, another one from 2006.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Anyways, we just wanted to talk about this because we've talked about it before, and it's just interesting. This weird thing. I've never heard anybody like official
Sure.
or notable talk about this.
yeah,
But to me, it's like
Look at
glaringly obvious. So we just thought we'd talk about it because it's interesting, and we've always discussed it. But yeah, thanks for listening
Or watching.
or watching. My name is Jake.
Now what do you say? My name is Peyton.
And
Jake left.
Jake left.
Peace out, Seacrest.